Court began considering the Trump administration's efforts to end DACA, the Obama-era program that protected young undocumented immigrants from deportation. What the High Court decides will have implications right here in Minnesota. Some businesses and higher learning institutions are worried they will lose highly skilled workers or students if the program goes away.
For us, it's a major deal, and not just for our institution, but the system as a whole. So we're part of 37 colleges and universities, and all of us are committed to serving the student population.
There are roughly 700,000 young people in the U.S. protected under DACA. The program gives them 2-year work permits and allows them to live in the U.S. without fear of being deported. In 2017, the Trump administration said it would phase out DACA and no longer accept new DACA applications. Officials at North Hennepin Community College are counseling students who are DACA recipients and anxious about their future.
What we're doing is communicating with students, reassuring them that no decisions have been made yet, working closely with families, addressing any concerns, having one-on-one conversations, but still really trying to keep the status quo and that semblance of calm as much as we can.
The U.S. Supreme Court will likely issue its decision by the end of June 2020, but it could come as early as January. Authorities have now identified the bicyclist struck and killed by a school bus in Brooklyn Park Wednesday morning. The bicyclist is identified as 31-year-old Philip Anderson of Plymouth. Anderson was struck at the intersection of 65th and Zane, about a block south of Interstate 94. The school bus with 10 students on board was headed to a North Minneapolis charter school. Police continue to investigate what happened. The city of Plymouth is hitting the pause button on potential applications for any new drive-thrus. The city has used its current drive-thru code since 1996, but now there's confusion with it, and that could lead to safety concerns. A potential development with a drive-thru led the city to reconsider its ordinance. Right now, there's uncertainty surrounding the definition of direct access and whether the code would require a drive-thru to have both entrances and exits to streets.
So to me, is the reason that this hasn't come up in the past is because we haven't found ourselves in this situation in the past where we had traffic and safety concerns with drive-through windows. Now that this has brought itself up, I think to be good stewards of the community, it does make sense to hit the pause button.
The moratorium passed on a 5-2 vote. It would not last for more than a year. It does not affect any current applications, including drive-thrus that are part of the Four Seasons Mall redevelopment. Students at a Brooklyn Park school swapped out books for hairnets on Friday. Maranatha Christian Academy held its 7th annual meal packing day. Students packed 35,000 meals that will be delivered to local food shelves. The event serves as an outreach to impact the local community.
This time of the year is, it ramps up at food shelves, and believe it or not, in our local community, the need for food it's a ton of people, right? So what'll happen is people will need food, especially this time of year, and they go to the food shelves. Even like your neighbors or people you might not even realize, they're looking for extra help.
About 700 students took part in Friday's mission. Over the last 6 years, students packed more than 130,000 meals. You may think you have to go to a professional children's theater to see a well-done theatrical production for young audiences. But Neil Persley found out this was not the case in today's Weekend Showcase.
Started in a huge pile.
Rarely have I seen a play designed for children done as well by a non-professional troupe as West Lutheran High School's presentation of Still Life with Iris.
Still Life with Iris is a fantasy adventure, and it's an all-ages show.
Although designed for young audiences, I found the show thoroughly engaging.
It's a wonderful script that was written by Stephen Dietz. It's a Kennedy Center award-winning script, and it's just a wonderful show about memories and how far you need to go to keep your past alive.
When I got the lead role, that was a bit of a shock to me.
Reese Lochner plays a wonderful Iris.
Mom, where's your coat?
Iris lives in an idyllic land called Nocturno. It's a place where if you lose your coat, you lose your memories.
Iris finds herself in a situation where she loses her memory and she has to go and find out who she is because she doesn't know who she is anymore.
Iris is kidnapped by the antagonist couple called the Great Goods, who live on Great Island. Their quest in life is to have one of the best of everything.
They can only have one of everything that is the best. So they can only have one shoe, they have one earring, they have one chair that's on a pedestal.
Their dream was to always have a perfect family, one girl, one boy, one everything. But with her having a memory of her past, of her mother and her father, we took that away from her.
Iris hangs on to the leather pouch and the button from her coat, which serve as a touchstone for her to remember her former life and who she is. You can bring the whole family, and young and old alike will be entertained. For Weekend Showcase from West Lutheran High School, Neil Persley, CCX News.
Iris, where
You can catch Still Life with Iris at West Lutheran High School on Saturday at 7 p.m. and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's been over a month in the making and a year in the planning. And Friday, the Fair School in Crystal got to show off its latest project. Last month, we showed you the Fair School's mural in progress. Parents, teachers, kids, and the community came together to transform this wall into this. The mural's elements were designed by the students to reflect the school and blended into a cohesive whole by artist Victor Yepes. Today's unveiling was a celebration not only of the effort, but of the school and the surrounding community.
We're not just a fine arts, we're an academic school, but in addition to that, we're also about the community. So the community also played a role in this too, so we wanted our community to participate as well.
And even the Crystal Police Department got involved. We're told officers painted this dancer. You can see more on this story on our website, ccxmedia.org.
Two of the final four teams in the state Class 6A football playoffs are from the northwest suburbs. Champlin Park looked to punch its ticket to the Prep Bowl Thursday night. The Rebels meeting defending state champion Lakeville North. Quarterback Jace Miller pump fakes and hits Brock Johnson over the middle, and he is gone. A 56-yard touchdown as the Rebels hit on several big passing plays in the first half. Their defense plays well early too. Edmund O'Cansey gets the strip on Logan Freeberg and recovers the fumble too to stop a Panthers drive. Second quarter and 3rd and 21 when Miller steps up. He'll let Evan Hammonds here for a 38-yard passing play. And it sets up a Miller power run for a 3-yard touchdown. Champlin Park leads it 14-0. Late in the second quarter, Sean Shipman, back from an ankle injury, goes 10 yards up the middle, and Champlin Park goes up 21-0. But Lakeville North drives down the field and scores late in the half. Raja Nelson takes it in for a 14-yard TD. It's 21-7 Rebels at halftime. Second half, watch the interception by Champlin Park's Devon Moore. He tips it and then makes the one-handed grab. No one's worth another look in his great play as Moore stops a Lakeville North drive. But the Panthers get the ball back, and Nelson does it again. On the quarterback draw, he bounces it to the outside and scores. Lakeville North has momentum, and they're within 21-14. The Rebels offense struggles, but they get close enough for a Noah Vogelpohl clutch field goal to stretch the lead to 24-14 with 4 minutes to play. They get the ball back, and about a minute later, Miller on the 3rd and 10 play gets loose. He is gone 41 yards for the touchdown. Champlin Park advances to the Prep Bowl for the 3rd time in program history with a 31-21 win. Wayzata is the top-ranked football team in Class 6A and should get a big test Friday night from second-ranked Lakeville South. But it is a Trojans team that is on a roll. It's a new week, and the Wayzata football team moved indoors, both for practice and for Friday night's game at US Bank Stadium. It's a great venue for any high school player. The Trojans say they will try not to let the moment overwhelm them.
I mean, we'll each get our moment with just being in the stadium, but eventually, when it gets down to it, it's just a football game, and we just need to get the job done.
But it's a first for me, so I'm really excited for it, but at the same time, we can't let it get to our heads. Like, just soak it all in during warm-ups, and once the game starts, get ready.
Anytime you're in a different setting and in a big game like this, you know, just staying focused on what got us here. And I think it's just a change of routine, right?
Wayzata is averaging over 40 points per game, racking up playoff wins over Eagan, Eastridge, and Centennial. Now they are preparing for a run-heavy, high-scoring, and talented Lakeville South team.
They're a really strong running team. Their running backs run hard. You know, they're always pushing for yards, so our goal is to just tackle everybody and just don't let them get any extra yards.
They present a unique challenge in the offense that they run, and so, you know, it's just another week of making sure that we're disciplined and we execute the way that we can.
The Trojans carry an unbeaten record into Friday night's clash with the Cougars. It's a confident group that doesn't seem to let success go to their heads.
Although we're super confident about winning each game and want to know each rep, I think we have a humble mindset and we don't let it get to our heads.
Coach Brown tells us that we got to work hard so we can play confident, so that's what all we've been doing, is just keep playing how we've been playing.
This is going to be 6.
You can see tape-delayed coverage of the game tonight, Friday, at approximately 10 p.m. on CCX1 and ccxmedia.org, although it could be later depending on the length of the earlier games today at the stadium. Wayzata Lakeville South also replays Saturday at 4 p.m. on CCX1. The winner tonight plays Champlin Park in the Prep Bowl November 29th at 7 p.m. at U.S. Bank Stadium. That's all for sports. More news in a moment.